What if you could silence the noise of the world and access inner bliss? What if you knew the shining formulas for overcoming the enormous challenges that every soul faces? Welcome everyone, I'm Shakti Durga. Mystery School podcast, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. We'll explore the ancient wisdom of the East and West, sharing stories and music, channeling light beings, scanning the unseen world, learning useful spiritual tools, and bringing forth peace, love, purpose, and abundance. In Mystery School, we co-create and share sacred frequencies, sending ripples of love that empower new possibilities to ignite our spirits, overcome obstacles, manifest our most inspired life, a life where your challenges become doorways to your deepest truth, where you anchor yourself in clarity and presence, not from your pain, but from the doors it opens into the deepest wisdom that's already within you. Your path has already begun. It's right beneath your feet. Let's illuminate that path together.
I want to welcome all of you to a very special show. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to take this wonderful, wonderful journey. Those of you already know who I take it with, Shakti Durga, joining me here today. Today's conversation is extremely important, not just in the world of consciousness and transformation, but it's in the world of understanding, as Shakti actually talks about it, the deeper truth of manifesting. And see, we get like this root beer float. When you get the root beer float, you know there's ice cream in it, you know there's soda in it, but you got this foamy stuff on top. And you have to sometimes move the foam away to get to the real sweetness. Now, that's my metaphor for it, and I don't know if I've totally destroyed the meaning for you, Shakti. But
No.
In the world we live in, there are laws, and yet people scratch their head and they say, I don't know, it's not happening for me. I don't know what to do. Now, before we go ahead, I want to mention, not only do you know what to do, but you're doing it. Would you please tell us right at the top what you've created regarding the teachings of the dimensions of wealth and how people can sign up?
Well, we've created a program called Dimensions of Wealth, which starts tomorrow in a time suitable for the US, 8:30 a.m. Australia time. And the idea is to understand how all the different bits come together, from the laws, as you've been saying, to the use of the mind, to our energy field and our physicality, our very important grounded physicality, so that we are able to weave together not just spiritual concepts, not just action, but how do you bring the best out of yourself and a situation by attuning each of these levels of who you are, so that when you take action, it's a game-changing situation because you've lined everything up to work properly.
Yeah. And you have these offerings at different time zones. You have actually created an invitation for people, regardless of where they may be in the world. And see, that's what I love about it, because that's the expansive nature of things, isn't it?
Yes. We also have the same program is running with my daughter teaching it. She's been doing this work since she was a tiny little girl. And she now lives in London, and she'll be running the program in a London-friendly time. So just look on our website, shantimission.org, and you'll see the program there. We also have a discount code for any of your listeners, Dr. Pat. So for 48 hours, there's a 25% discount for anyone who'd like to take the program and really understand the dimensions of wealth. And I have to say that for me, wealth includes also health, and wealth includes that you feel empowered to take place in your culture, and that you might want to be part of a movement that's going on, but you want to be effective in that movement. It also means love. You know, to me, you can't have wealth without love, because it would be barren. And always when you're working with the mysteries, you're looking at a situation where we're working out how to utilize the tools of what they call the lesser path. The lesser path is changing stuff in your world, you know, and the greater path is the you that is doing the manifesting is transforming. So you yourself are becoming a more enlightened version of yourself, a more empowered version of yourself, by practicing the tools of they call it the lesser path. To me, they're both very sacred, but we do want to be empowered to take our place in the world. We want to have enough money to do the things that we want to do, you know. There is a lot of research around that after a certain place, it's around $70,000 or $80,000, that happiness doesn't get any greater if you have a certain income, that happiness stays the same. But if you're earning less than that, we need to change that. We need to create the circumstances through which you can find channels of abundance that you didn't even think about before because your mind wasn't attuned to it. Yeah. We need to look at, is there karma in the way? You know, is there something from the deep past that perhaps we can't remember in our minds that might be blocking me? You know, there's a whole lot of things, and we look at it systematically, and you'll go, again and again as we go through the program, and we have a lot of fun and support each other on the journey.
Well, you said a couple of things that are key, and I really want to get started on this because they've been around people's view of what's missing about The Secret and the law of attraction.
Oh, yes.
But people, their response is very simple. It's not working, right? So no one has come to say, well, there's a way for it to work. And that's what you're doing, isn't it?
That's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Because when we have a look at the consciousness equation, the map that we have, the mystical map, we see that The Secret, the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and other laws too, they take their place in one particular dimension of who we are and what creation is. And yes, it's very important that we learn about these laws because they are the laws of life. Things will not happen in contravention of those laws in the long run. In the short run, you can force something, but it will go splat eventually if it's not in accordance with the laws. So we don't want to waste energy that way. We want to know these laws, like the law of karma. That's not something that the law of karma couldn't care less whether you believe in it, because it's not a belief. It's a pattern and frequency of energy that's part of the fabric of how our universe was established. And so there's 12 of these laws that we look at in different programs. And the law of attraction, or The Secret, is one of the laws. But if you might be working with the law of attraction, but you're not working with some of the other laws, you're not going to achieve your objective. Yeah. So there's the 5 dimensions that we work with.
Please tell us what they are, because see, this is more about a tapestry to me.
It's a tapestry. Yeah.
It's a tapestry. And yet here in the United States, when we've been given information about it, it's not been about a tapestry, because we get all left-brained about it and we go through process and steps. But can you talk about, let's take us through these different aspects of it, because I think it's important for people to know, well, do I have to finish this one or this one? Do they overlap? I mean, there's much more to the conversation. And once you get a sense of it, you're ready to sign up for the mystery. You're ready to sign up. You're ready to sign up for Dimensions of Wealth. Well, you don't even have that. But could you explain it from where you sit on how the tapestry works?
Indeed, yeah. So I want to just use an example because I think it makes it more concrete. So I'm using kind of a silly example in a way, but it's, I want a new sports car and it's red being my favorite color. So let's just pretend that that's what we want, because it could represent anything that you want in your life. And so the first thing that we do in the mysteries is we ask for it, because we know there's a thing called the law of polarity, which means that we have choice. There's always ends of spectrums. We can choose to have a car. We can choose to not have a car. So we're going to choose to have the car, and we let the infinite universe know, I would really like a car, please. And I think every thought that we think is a prayer, and that the infinite intelligence hears our prayer and immediately starts to send us whatever we ask for. So if we look at the consciousness equation, in the top of it, you'll see that the top of it actually doesn't have anything other than the infinite in it. But as soon as the infinite starts bringing you the coalescence of a car, it has to come in through the soul dimension of who you are. And the soul is absolutely resonant with the laws. So your soul is so powerful, it already knows the laws, and it wants us in the free will zone we live in to live by the laws, but it can't enforce it. We have to choose. And so I've put a few of the laws there. Am I living by the laws? Am I attached to having this thing? Sometimes we get so attached to what we want that it just bounces straight back out again. You know, it hits something hard. And really, we've got to feel the happiness of having the thing before it will come in as a thing. Anyway, there's a number of these laws. Do I have the karma for it? Do I have the grace? So often we want to receive, but there's a cycle of giving and receiving, you know. So we want to be making sure that we are doing something to help others, because this affects us at this vast area of the laws of life. Let's assume for a moment that you don't have any blockages there. You'd be a rare person who had absolutely none, but let's assume that you the car can come in, and it comes in through the soul dimension, pours down through this consciousness equation into your astral field. And the astral field is where we meet the mind, we meet our beliefs, our thoughts, our expectations and memories. And our memories might say, no one's ever given me a car before, or I've never had a red sports car before, so it's unlikely I'm ever going to. You see, the mind can be like that. And our subconscious can anchor that deep within and go, yeah, well, we're not having a red sports car. We don't believe in that. And so our beliefs there can be an absolute handbrake on manifesting. They can be like a big umbrella that it bounces off, and whatever we want to just goes somewhere else. So this is separate to the laws. The laws are not beliefs, but we can learn practices to work with those laws. And then here in the astral field, there's a plethora of information around in the community now about how to work with the mind. And we utilize some of that, plus some sacred, secret ways of working with the mind that are very powerful as well.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you're talking about this, because I did a study on my coaching clients, and I asked them, in the laws of the universe, what would you love to have? So I get the answers back. Then my follow-up was, what did you really want to say that you were afraid to say because you didn't think you'd ever get it? Because I was getting back, not even the sports car, right?
Yeah.
And the number one thing that came back, and it was sad for me to hear it, was, I will never own my own home. Across the board. It didn't matter what the age was. And you could feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the infinite, us owning a home is no more difficult than a sports car.
No.
It's no more difficult than being given a pack of playing cards. It's no different because the infinite is the infinite. And you having your own home, your belief that you're never going to is probably going to be a big block. And so we have to work on that. And there you can work with the left brain and the right brain. So with the left brain, we might do affirmations. But with the right brain, we have to do visualization. And you can't just replace one with the other. They both need to be there, because this helps our mind think a different way. And it's almost looked like putting us on a different set of train tracks, from the place where we were going to be heading to the place where we now can make a bit of a turn. And we don't know what the universe will provide for us, where that house will be, how it will come about. We're living in the unknown, and with real manifesting, that's part of the learning that we have to on the greater path, is to be a bit more uncomfortable with not having control, without having all the answers, you know, because we are beings who, our egos love to be in control of everything. And if I can't see how I can do it, then I won't believe in it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's these powers that exist in creation that are far bigger than us, and we can safely work with them. And that's what a mystery school is for, to help you. Because as well as the laws of the universe, there's angels, there's gods and goddesses, there's all kinds of friendly, helpful beings who stand back and wait for us to ask, because we're living in a free will zone. The dark beings never wait. They don't stand back until we ask. They jump in and try and confuse you every moment of the day. But we're not calling on the light beings, because we're living in a society that's decided they're not real.
Mm.
which is a shame because they aren't beliefs either. They are forces of nature and they're real. Just like nature is a real thing, to me, it's a living goddess. Nature is a living goddess. And that when we get out in nature and we ask for what we want in the natural world and we align with nature, this is another form of alignment. Anyway, there's another part of this manifesting story because we've got the soul dimension, we've got the mind. The next place this car will go, if it doesn't bounce out because you have these rigid beliefs that I'm never going to get given a car, it'll drop down into your energy body. So your etheric field, your energy body, your chakras, as it's called in India, the energy centers, the biofield. And how developed is your biofield? You may have a really developed heart, say. And I see a lot of spiritual people who have very developed crown chakras, heart chakras. They're huge, clairvoyantly, they're enormous and beautiful. But their sacral chakra and their base chakra and even their solar plexus area are tiny by comparison. And they cannot ground the energy that they're connecting with in meditation or prayer because they haven't developed the lower chakras. And that's usually because, in the deep history of our culture, we were told that that's all bad stuff. The earth's bad, sex is bad, power's bad, unless you happen to be the church, that sort of thing. And so we got to reclaim our sovereignty of our entire energy field. And we often have to help people build up their lower chakras in a balanced way so that they can fit that amount of energy down through their energy system and into the physical world. So that's a real thing. Then finally, we come to the physical world, which is the place of time and action. And there we have to ask. We have to ask, and we need to do what we can to align ourselves with the intention that we have. So we also have to have patience, which is something most people don't really like all that much. So we learn to have a bit more patience, and we learn about consistency of aim and effort. And consistency of aim and effort becomes a strength within us that becomes part of our immortal self, it becomes part of who we be. And so, as I said before, when we learn to work with all of these things, it's a system. It's not hard. It's just we need to remember and we need to know the landscape of each of these domains. It does not mean do nothing. And so whether we want to bring social change, whether we want to have more love in our life, better health, this same method, you can just replace the sports car with any of the other things that you think would be beautiful to have in your life.
Yeah. I love that we're talking about this in real terms. Sports car, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how many years ago that was like that next to a Harley Davidson. But in the back of my mind back then, it was like, I'll never really own another Harley Davidson. And boy, the story that goes, oh, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
But you see, the minute that happens, there's something that kicks in and it blocks it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I agree. So that on the next slide, you'll see that what happens if there's a dimension missing. So we have to, I say, line up your ducks, as though every single dimension is a duck. You have to line them all up. Line them up. You can have the top two dimensions going great, but if you haven't worked on the lower ones, then you're not going to have a car in the physical world. If you go to the next slide where you'll see that there's energy in every one of those dimensions, then you will manifest a car. And can I tell you, I once worked with this thing about I want to get given a car. And it was back when I was working as a trial attorney. I had a nanny for my child. My cash flow, I just went through a bad period with cash flow and I thought I need a second car for the nanny. And so I worked on this affirmation. I worked on the V diagram for quite a while, but I was still learning patience. And this is a story against myself. But what happened was, in the end, I went, I'm just going to buy a car because I really need this car. So I went and bought the car. The next day, there was an ad in the paper that said, buy one, get one free. And I went, that's my car. I knew that was my opportunity to have two cars, was to trade in my existing car, buy this other car that wasn't expensive and get one free. And it was a real ad. I couldn't believe it. So I did not have enough patience in that. I didn't wait long enough. I didn't trust the universe. And so there is this thing of having to be patient, but everything else had worked. So I was kind of happy about that, but also I couldn't get out of the deal. I was stuck with this car that I had to buy. But there you go.
And I love what you said though about the outcome thing. Now, okay, a really short punchline to this, moving from Seattle, I had my friend John was moving me. I had a big gym equipment, couldn't fit it in the truck. But guess what fit in that John wanted to trade me? His chopped black Harley with flames on the gas tank. I'm telling you as we speak, I got pictures that I will send you. And I looked at John and said, do you think you mind? Would you take my Harley? And then I'll just take, I said, oh, it's such a heartache, but yeah, I'll take it.
Wow, that's such a great story.
I didn't have to buy it, but I held that I wanted that. This is what you're saying. And yet, let's talk about the event that's coming, because there are things we must learn so that we do this like we breathe.
Exactly. It becomes second nature. And one of the reasons we have the mystery school and that we advise repetition of this stuff is so it becomes second nature. It's like you don't learn to become an Olympic swimmer overnight. You have to put in the practice. But we help you because it's not practice that makes perfect. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. So we curate it for you and we help you on that journey so that you don't, we try and look at, okay, where's the gap? Work on this and you'll get much more bang for your buck than you will if you're working over here on something you're already good at. You don't have a blockage to creating over here, but you're working on it because it's your habit to work on it and you're good at it, but you don't need it. Work over here where you're not so strong and you will fix a problem and the universe will flow through your life.
I prepare for these shows, so I prepare in advance for this. And I don't have enough time to give you the whole story, but I will tell you this. I went through a patch last week, defending trademark after trademark. I found another one was taken. And so when I looked at what we were studying, something happened. Can't tell you what it is, but I went into a different zone. And out of that zone, I not only created specimens for this trademark to demonstrate that we're doing other things, I literally created an entire board game with 11 realms, different decks of cards. I mean, yes. Now, we can talk about that later, but clearly what you're teaching people is that anyone can learn to manifest what their heart's desires.
Yes. Yes. And I've been doing it for years. I tell you, I spent nearly 20 years offering everything I taught purely by donation. Like, if you come and you don't like it, don't pay. I did that, and I still have parts of my life where I do that. But we found that it was probably better for people to have the giving experience on some of our programs. And but we are pretty open-hearted. If there's anyone who's totally struggling, let us know, and we'll try and find you a scholarship to come to our programs, because we're first and foremost about caring for people.
Well, you have to have that energy. I was trying to tell somebody today, we're a live streaming video company. Everybody can see that. But by the way, our podcasting platform is free. We don't charge any extra for that because we built a technology that allows us to give that way. And yet when you talk to your business coaches, they look at you like you got 3 heads. But the bottom line is, I don't have 3 heads. You're looking at a crown chakra here, folks. Get on board.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Tell us one more time how we can register, and I'd love to know your personal message here.
You can register by going to shantimission.org and scroll down the homepage and you'll see how you can join, and particularly with the discount code for people from this program. My message is that you can change your world more than you think you can, and that you yourself will also change in the process. And together we can change all kinds of things that we might not believe are possible. Yeah. These are just the building blocks, but we can use them for anything.
Now, let's make sure everybody has the website, and there's a lot of information there. They can look, find, seek. But the point is to please go look. See what calls to you. We're living in a time right now that we almost want to forget. Do you have a mantra for us today?
I do, and it's to connect us with the goddess Lakshmi, who's the goddess of giving you everything amazing. So let's just have a little bit of that. Om Shreem Maha, great, Lakshmi Namaha. I surrender to the abundance of the universe. Here we go. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. 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 Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the show. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And thank you for placing out in the world ways for us to grow, evolve, explore, and transform.
And thank you for making it all possible. Thank you, Dr. Pat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nat, for everything you do. And for those of you out there, sometimes you hold on to a thread. But remember, if you put one thread with another thread, then another thread, then another thread, you're building a tapestry. That's all. See you next time.
Thank you for joining me for Mystery School, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. Be the detective of your spirit and soul and seek the doorways to a new reality. Take one insight from today and let it illuminate your path. Visit shantimission.org to learn more about our other programs, meditations, and resources for living with ease and grace, and sign up for our free Soulful Relationships Masterclass. In this class, we'll cleanse and purify the relationship energy in a key relationship in your life. Previous students have experienced rapid transformation in their marriages, in their relationships, with family, work colleagues, teenagers, just from this one practice. And you'll have a spiritual key to successful relationships that you can use again and again. Sign up for the free masterclass at shantimission.org. And we'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific time every first and third Monday for Mystery School. Mark it in your calendar. We'll see you next time.